Hello, hello, and welcome to Still Here. I'm Madman, and this is my stream that I don't know what it is, to be perfectly honest, except for me uh, doing some things that I find interesting that I hope some other people find interesting as well. Um, but today, in fact, I think actually a lot of people find these things interesting because today I think what I wanted to do was take a look at. I don't know why I'm talking like that. Today, I wanted to watch some of Ethan's old EXE videos because I really love them. I think that they're amazing. So I thought I would watch some of those to get started. And then I really wanted to read through the H3Snark response to Ethan's response to their motion to quash. So they sent their motion to quash, which was a list of things why they think that their identity shouldn't be revealed. And then Ethan wrote back saying, well, here's all the reasons why they should be, why we do need to know who these people are. And then they're like, well, no, you don't. So I'm curious about the, well, no, you don't aspect of it, because I feel like Ethan has a really amazing case, considering all of the things that they've said and done over the past, well, since the nuke came out, really. I think that's the real big thing. If we focus on the nuke and the copyright infringement as far as that goes, then there's a really strong case there. So anyway, so I thought it'd be fun to watch some of these old EXE videos to just sort of warm up and enjoy some old school Ethan, because I think they're awesome. So this 12 years ago, and knowing that this is how Ethan sort of started to learn how to edit, I thought it would be they're really great. Well, I'll tell my story after watch a couple, but let's watch it.
Cover all 9,000 taste bud. Aerate it. Warm it up. Driving up. Get that top note. That cream. Pure vanilla. Sweeteners. That's a 10.
Little bit of mixed spice and a couple of teaspoons of sugar. Just give that a really good mix there. Mix that in.
I love a bit of Ainsley Harriott, though. The sounds are just...
That's it. That's it. Me a good old rub. That's it.
Yeah, boy.
Psychotic. It's incredible. I mean, it's Dada.
From this distant vantage point.
Oh, I've seen that one.
Mom and Dad and apple pie, baseball games and picnics in July. Fireworks and marching bands, a pride that only freedom understands.
Hi, Tanya.
That's America. That's America to me.
Tanya, we're watching KC videos.
Open arms and willing hands, giving just to help a fellow man. Standing in That's America. respect for him throughout our history. Families that stand and say, we will serve the Lord today.
I just want to know how much internet Ethan is watching to find all these clips. Hey, Kelsey.
That's America. That's America to me.
Mate, let me tell you about this chicken here already.
I think it was a compilation of people doing pig sounds, a competition of people doing pig sounds, which is incredible. Yeah, I want to know how Ethan found this stuff. I mean, this is great. This is the
Here,
Cajun chef.
We gotta got that jerk chicken, right? It looking real spicy life, right? It's gonna make your toots come out like fire now. Oh, you like that? You like to feel that? Smell good, look good. Come down a little sour, but you know it's good for you.
Hot and spicy meat.
I mean, you were gonna jerk that chicken together, right? We're gonna just two old blokes round the barbie, right? We're gonna jerk that chicken.
Give your meat a good old rub.
Bring that at the barbie. We're gonna jerk. I'm gonna give it a jerk. You're gonna give it a jerk, mate. You know what I mean? We're just two broke jerking the chicken, right? What's that jerk? What's that chicken? That's a jerk, oh, mate. We're gonna bring that inside. We're gonna jerk it together. This is all spice. The spice, right? We're gonna jerk. We're gonna take it inside. We're gonna jerk it together, right? Yeah.
I don't know if do you guys know about Dada art? Like I don't know if Ethan has ever talked about this. I mean, he hasn't in my knowledge of him. But Ethan is his videos remind me of Dadaism a lot. So here's my story. So I have a story. When I first moved to San Francisco, the first job I got when I was in San Francisco was at a rubber stamp factory in the shipping department. I would ship out, people would order rubber stamps from this place called Stamp Francisco, where they were made, and we would ship them out. Mostly it was to other stores who would sell the rubber stamps, and they were all like custom made there and designed or whatever. But the stamp selling portion of it was was to back financially this art gallery, this Dada art gallery in San Francisco. And it was just so interesting. And it's just this. So I'll read what it is. Dada or Dadaism was an international art movement that developed in the context of the Great War and Futurism, first established in Zurich, Switzerland, and later quickly spread to Berlin, Paris, New York City, and a variety of artistic centers in Europe and Asia. The Dada movement's principles were first collected in Hugo Ball's Dada Manifesto. Wait, let's get to this. Dada coalesced among emigre artists and writers in neutral Switzerland during 1916, founding the Cabaret Voltaire. That's where I don't know if you guys know the band, but that's where the band name comes from, as a venue for nightly performances and manifestos. Participants framed their activity as a protest against war, nationalism, and cultural conformity, adopting strategies of nonsense, chance, and ridicule to negate prevailing aesthetic values. And that's what I'm talking about. So Dadaists worked across media, including sound poetry, simultaneous recitation, collage, and photo montage, and the use of found objects and assemblage in New York and Paris. Duchamp's ready-mades became emblematic of Dada's anti-art stance. So that idea of the superimposing the different videos on top of each other with all the different opacities and the way that the sounds come together and the choice of those things. And so when Ethan chooses Mitch McConnell or Ethan chooses That's America, he's really tapping into that Dadaism and that protest aspect of it, of pushing against the powers that be or whatever. So I don't know if he knows any of that, but I think it's pretty fascinating. I think that you can see a lot of this. You can see these values, the Dada values in his EXE stuff. Oh, let's watch a couple more. Oh, this is a minute long. This is good.
I asked a friend of mine, Clive Panther, to come along and demonstrate something.
It's a lung capacity tester. Just blow very hard and see if you can get this windmill to go round. I'll show you.
Yes.
By the way, one of the most famous Dada artists is Yoko Ono. So, and we used to send her invites to gallery openings. It was funny. I had her address in New York City. But with Warzone, Yoko, I think it all kind of comes together, and Ethan probably knows all of this.
But you've got to blow very hard. Give it a try, Tim.
Well, it's made of brass, no quality, but I'll have a go. Here we go. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. That.
So fascinating. All right, let's watch Patrice Wilson. Exactly. So. Okay. All right. Okay. I think I'm over. I think I'm done now after the Patrice Wilson one throws me. It's really good. I don't want to watch all of them because I want to watch more on it on another stream sometime. I like to parcel these things out, you know, for the rest of the time. So I really did want to read through. Let's see. You guys ready for this? You ready for me to read through the Movance Doe defendants' reply in support motion to quash plaintiffs' subpoenas to Reddit, Inc. and Discord, Inc.? This is the reply to the reply. Table of contents, yada, yada. It's not that long. It's only 20-some pages. And a lot of it is stuff like this, table of authorities. So lots of research went into this one. I guess they maybe got a different lawyer working on this, maybe. Come on, where are we at? There we go. Introduction. Okay. All right. PEI devotes most of its opposition to Doe's motion to quash to addressing fair use, but first and foremost, TEI must establish whether it can state a claim for contributory infringement against Doe's. It cannot. Just flat out. It cannot. There's no way, right? Which is absolute bullshit. So they say that they're going to address the fair use, but they can't say that they're trying to say that they didn't have any involvement in the contributory infringement. So even though it's a fair use case, they're not involved in it in the fair use aspect of it. So there are hundreds of pages of declarations and exhibits show that this case and the subpoenas encompass much more than a copyright dispute. TEI's principals Ethan and Ela Klein see themselves as being cyber attacked on personal and political levels, even though the clients have shown no evidence of an actual H3Snark moderator engaging in any such conduct. I mean, that is just utterly false. That is they have actual evidence. More importantly, TEI introduces no evidence of infringement by does. TEI merely relies on unfounded speculation and assumptions. So I don't know what they're trying to say here, as far as TEI not having any evidence of infringement by the does, when they have mega posts that literally have YouTube links in them, YouTube YEW tube links, and if that's all. The sole purpose of of those links is to circumvent the ad revenue from YouTube links. So what the fuck? Exactly, Kelsey. Why does it lie? Why does it lie? Okay, so fundamentally, TEI conflates users of the H3Snark's subreddit and really any critics with a snark mentality. Fundamentally, TEI conflates users of the H3Snark Reddit and anyone who criticizes them with a snark mentality and attributes their conduct collectively to does. Furthermore, this is them trying to again say that all they're doing is offering criticism. They're just criticizing Ethan. Furthermore, TEI repeatedly attributes conduct to does which is neither relevant to copyright infringement nor actually done by does. Indeed, when given the opportunity and the obligation to produce evidence of its copyright claim, TEI spends its declarations correcting the record for perceived wrongs and alleged falsehoods. As TEI's own evidence shows, TEI has an ulterior reputational motive unrelated to copyright. Relatedly, TEI has not established that its subpoenas seek relevant information from moderators of the subreddit. Finally, the balancing of equities overwhelmingly favors does and the public's right to free speech, anonymity, and privacy, where TEI set a trap. They did not set a trap, and is weaponizing the subpoenas to reveal does identities to punish them for conduct they simply did not do. So, they only post on Snark. They're not snarkers. Exactly. So that's what they do. So let's go back for a second here. So they're saying that that in Ethan and Hila's declarations, which was the last round, that this is what they're replying to, that there wasn't any actual evidence. It was just them airing their grievances with H3Snark. And that's just utter nonsense. So, in fact, talk about their backgrounds. They talk about all the reasons why they're being targeted and all of the falsehoods that are against them. But they don't. But they do talk about what these guys are saying, which is they don't produce evidence of a copyright claim. Well, that's not what the declaration was for either. The declaration is the response of why they know that Snark is involved in all of this. So anyway. Also, the set a trap is funny. Let's see. Response to evidentiary objections. In a footnote, TEI objects to does citation to Reddit posts and other materials authored by third parties as hearsay. TEI objects. Yes, Reddit posts and other materials authored by third parties are not hearsay. It's written down. I don't understand. Lacking personal knowledge, foundation, and proper authentication, and under the best evidence for any clips part of those posts. While TEI objections lack sufficient specificity for does to respond. Okay, so they're saying that Reddit posts and other materials authored by third parties as hearsay, lacking okay, because it's a Reddit post and it's an anonymous post, that's just hearsay. They don't know if it's true. They can't be proven because they don't know where it's coming from. It can't be authenticated. Kelsey says, I think the trap point is so funny because, like, even if they set a trap, we all still fell for it. Exactly. They're pissed that they fell for the trap, right? And then they say, reference to TEI encompass Ethan and the H3 podcast, and Brian reference to Ethan and Hila Klein by their first name were only for ease and not meant to disrespect, whatever. Anyway, so while TEI's objections lack sufficient specificity for does to respond, does state that their evidence is based on personal knowledge, unless so. Does state that their evidence based on personal knowledge, unless so stated. Does provide authentication for their non-testimonial exhibits. Moreover, the evidence is relevant to the doe's present sense impression and existing mental state. Okay. So they're saying that that Ethan's evidence is just based on what Ethan knows, but what they know different, and they and somewhere in their 700 pages of nonsense, of snark nonsense, and 2 thumb drives, they think that they prove them wrong, but really what's most important is their mental states, because they're deathly afraid of what Ethan and Neela will do to them. They're trying to use the entrapment thing against them, but that doesn't work for civil cases. No. You're absolutely right. Doe's objections. Doe's object to arguments and footnotes in TEI's declarations instead of its brief as improper and attempts to circumvent the court's page limits. Jesus. Now they're trying to get him on a technicality. That's frustrating. Doe's object to chat logs, social media posts, and anonymous statements as hearsay under free 802 lacking exception. So they're trying to say that none of this stuff is admissible because it's all anonymous and nobody knows who it is, which is the whole point of trying to unmask them so that you can see who it was who made the posts. As unauthenticated or the evidence speaks for itself, Doe's object to portion JKD and RBM declaring that offer legal conclusions, speculation, improper character evidence about Doe's or others, including about... Okay. Doe's objective portions JKD and RBM declarations that offer legal conclusions, speculation, including about user motivations or alleged market harm, and improper character evidence about Doe's or authors. And declarants lack personal knowledge. Doe's objective inflammatory rhetoric or alleged instances of harassment unrelated to copyright claims. So there we go. There's no way they worked with a real lawyer on this. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine them putting all of these citations in here and a judge being really happy that they have to go through every single one of these cases just so that these people who have been making horrible comments about other people on the internet can get away with it. Because the fact of the matter is that they're scared because they know that they're assholes. They know that the stuff that they say is shitty, and that's why they're scared to be revealed. It's not because they're scared of what Ethan and Neela are going to do to them. And then they're saying that the alleged instances of harassment are unrelated to copyright claims. For undue prejudice, confusion, the issues, and risk of misleading, Doe's asked that objectionable materials be stricken. Further, Doe's object to TEI's evidence, which is self-contradictory. This evidence should also not be considered. The nature of Doe's speech implicates the First Amendment. Here we go. Doe's actions in creating mega threads as discussion boards to analyze, critique, and deliberate TEI's nuke involve Doe's First Amendment rights to anonymous speech. Let me take a drink. This isn't about analyzing, critique, and deliberation. This is about copyright infringement, and this is about very purposeful copyright infringement. Nuke is a tragicomic documentary critiquing a political commentator, Ethan's adversary, Hassan. Here we go. And an influential interactive live streaming platform shaping social and political discourse, Twitch. Jesus. I mean, that's like Taylor Lorenz level of writing. My theory is that one of the Snarkers is a law student and wrote this for them so they didn't have to pay anyone. So I don't know if you guys watch Loose at all. You know, we watched him Captain Quasar's stream a couple times, but he actually did some research. So this is a law firm, this Kronenberger Rosenfeld, and the lawyer that they have working on this. Wait, let me just make sure I know what page I'm on so I don't lose my spot. Oh, we got it on page 3. Great. I don't know if it says her name here. Here we go. Leah Rosa Vulik is the person who did not go to law school. Right. So she's a lawyer. I guess she passed the bar in San Francisco, but the way that she studied law was in practice. So it's interesting. And you know, Luce talks about this more, and he's way more qualified to speak on it than I am. But he was saying how a lot of her writing is not indicative of someone who had to do a lot of writing for law school, which is interesting. Yes, it is editorialized. You're absolutely right. That sentence is totally editorialized. So let's see. Doe's speech is core protected speech. Yeah, she's got the Kim Kardashian lawyer degree. Exactly. A speaker's interest in anonymity may extend beyond alleged copyright infringement where the speaker criticizes a powerful political figure. So that's interesting, right? That if they that they're saying that their criticism of Ethan protects them under the First Amendment, even against copyright infringement. So that's what they're trying to say here. In other words, here, the First Amendment implications go beyond the fair use of the megathreads because the purpose of the megathreads was to promote commentary and criticism. Thus, First Amendment concerns must be considered separate and before consideration of fair use. So that's what they're saying. The megathreads were there for conversation. They weren't there to provide links to people to watch the nuke without giving Ethan any views, which, to be perfectly honest, is a really interesting argument. Because it is, they're not entirely wrong, but I don't think that I don't know whether judge to go for this. It's I would have to look at some of these references in order to see whether they actually apply or not. And that's what I feel bad for the judge, who's going to have to go through all of these references and see if these what's the word I'm looking for? Precedent, if any of these precedents are actually applicable here. So here, expressing criticism, and here's where they're going to start. Well, I mean, I guess there's not much more, but they could start burying themselves. But anyway, here, expressing criticism of a public figure of Ethan Klein's particular persona and online following while using one's real name will lead to dire consequences. Will lead to dire consequences. No, like, what dire consequences is it actually going to lead to? It is in this context of high public sentiment that TEI's claim and subpoenas must be judged. Therefore, to succeed in unmasking Doe's, TEI must persuade the court that there is a real evidentiary basis for believing that Doe's engaged in wrongful conduct that caused real harm to TEI's interest, that the laws TEI invokes, here copyright laws, are intended to protect. Fair enough. I mean, that's true. Yeah. Vague explanations, conclusory suggestions, and outcome-determinative unsupported claims are not sufficient. I don't think there was any vague explanations, conclusory suggestions. Anyway, TEI has not made this showing. In this context of high public, the TEI's claims for succeeding on it, TEI must persuade the court that there's real evidentiary basis for believing that Doe's engaged in wrongful conduct. Yeah, and they do. The real evidentiary basis is the mega threads that were put out with the links to circumvent ad revenue. TEI presents no evidence of a prima facie claim for contributory infringement. Okay, I need to look this up, guys. Let's see what this says in the old dictionary. Oh, that's not working. I need to look up prima facie because I think I know what it is, but prima facie or prima facie is a Latin legal term meaning at first glance or on its face. A prima facie case is one where the evidence presented is strong enough to establish a fact or support a legal claim unless it's disproved later. Okay. So basically, the surface level, without getting into the details, they need to need to be able to make a surface level case for contributory infringement, which I feel like the mega threads with YouTube links absolutely does. TEI has not submitted competent evidence for its claim for contributory copyright infringement or alleged harm. Well, evidence? We're not there yet. We're not in discovery yet. So. Doe's in routine Reddit moderation practice of creating pinned posts shared links to content creators who live stream reaction videos of TEI's nuke. I mean, that's a very, like, that's an interesting rewriting of it there. Routine Reddit moderation practice of creating pinned posts shared links to content creators. Yeah, it's routine to share links to content creators who are saying things like, we don't want to give any views to this person, so go watch it here. Okay. I.e. Reaction videos, i.e. analysis of another creator's videos in a content creator's own video, is so commonplace in the industry that it's often difficult to tell where one creator's content begins and another ends. I think that there is actually some people who would be really good for being able to tell where one creator's content begins and another ends. And that's the people who worked on setting the precedent for fair use as far as reaction content goes. That would be Rom and Ethan. Doe's had no knowledge of Judge, it's not fair. We do it all the time. It's exactly what they're trying to say. That's exactly right. Anyway, let's see. Complex that's often. Doe's had no knowledge of any alleged infringement, and they in no way induced Denim's or other creators' alleged infringement. The creators would have reacted to Nuke regardless of what Doe's posted on the subreddit. Furthermore, engaging in critical discussion of another creator's content is fundamental First Amendment protected activity. Yes, we know that. We know that, but that's not what this is about. Through their mega threads, Doe's intended to and did support such critical discussion. A finding of infringement here would drastically alter the content creation world, stifle free speech, and result in the senseless unmasking and harassments of individuals who only further discourse about a controversial public figure. Okay, see, this is where this is the bullshit right here. We're not doing anything. We're just creating mega threads. We're just talking about it. It's all about criticism and just being critical of Ethan, who is a very controversial person, as you know. So this would stifle free speech. No, it wouldn't. What it would stifle is people stealing content. It would say that Denims, you actually have to react, and you have to actually, you're not making a stream just so that other people won't give money to Ethan. That's not free speech. That's theft. And it's fairly clear that that's theft. In fact, what this might do is get Reddit to actually get off their ass and do something about these people who are stealing content or are posting YouTube links. Or I've found channels on YouTube that have showed up in my on my homepage that are just completely restreaming full on H3 episodes. It's ridiculous. I don't understand it. I mean, I guess I understand why it's getting recommended to me. I don't like that it's getting recommended to me alongside my own videos, but that's okay. But anyway, this is not about free speech. It's not about ending the mega threads. It's about ending the links to these infringing copyright. But also, listen, we all know it really is unmasking Snark is a huge part of all of this. Hi, Alex. Alex, last time you came, I totally forgot that you were making that joke about I'm so mad coming in. The second time you did it, and then I remembered it later on. But it was a good joke. I just want you to know I remembered it, and it was a good joke. Dude, me too. Somehow I don't get the actual pod I'm recommended, but I get the re-uploads with like 3 views. Yeah, it's so weird. So weird. I don't get the actual pod recommended to me either. I guess they know that I'll find it every day. All right, so here we go. So TEI presents no evidence of specific infringement on Denim's stream or elsewhere. TEI is not. Sorry, I read 2 different sentences. TEI presents no evidence that Doe's knew of specific infringement. Okay. So they're trying to say that that they didn't know, they're not involved in the Denims portion of it. So they didn't know that Denims was going to do any of this. They weren't working with her. TI has not shown that Doe's knew of specific infringement on Denim Stream or elsewhere. Doe's moderated the H3Snark subreddit, which arose from a public interest of critiquing H3. That's what it arose from, a public interest of critiquing H3. Doe's actually not shitting on H3 and terrorizing a family of. Doe's actions must be examined in this larger context, where it is extraordinarily common for third parties, including H3Snark users and other content creators, to discuss or create works criticizing another's content, political stances, and public actions. No one's saying this isn't about you criticizing Ethan. Excuse me, I'm getting dry. I mean, it's not. This isn't about criticism. This is about harassment. I like that they live in their own world. They just like, we're just critiquing him. We're just nice. We're not doing anything bad. He's a horrible person, and we're critiquing him. They live in their own universe. It's incredible. So thus, when creators stated they intended to react to Nuke, Doe's knowledge was that these reactions would be fair use, critique, and commentary. Here, Doe's have demonstrated through competent evidence that they had no knowledge of specific infringement. TEI's conclusory allegations of the required knowledge of infringement are plainly insufficient. As an initial matter, TEI's construction of the knowledge element is flawed and backwards. TEI has the burden to show Doe's knowledge of infringement, not lack of knowledge of fair use. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, thanks, Alex. Yeah, I know. Luce is sick. I went to watch his video, and a crazy AI woman voice came on, and it freaked me out. I had I had to turn it off. And also, there wasn't any sort of it wasn't any sort of commentary from him, because he's usually talking off the top of his dome, you know. So, this is really interesting, though. So, the TEI's construction knowledge of infringement, not lack of knowledge of fair use. The burden showed Doe's knowledge of infringement, not. I mean, personally, I think that that them literally saying in the mega post, here's some places where you can go watch it and not support Ethan, and one of those places was Denims' stream, then that would constitute copyright infringement, because they're very plainly saying, here's where you go watch it, not here's where you could go discuss it. You can come discuss it in the mega thread, but here's the places you can go watch it. So I can't see how they haven't shown that, but I get where this lawyer is coming from. While direct copyright infringement is a strict liability claim, what separates contributory infringement from direct infringement is the knowledge requirement. So they're trying to play dumb, essentially. They didn't know that what Denims was going to do wasn't going to be considered fair use. TEI did allege actual knowledge in its complaint. TEI did not allege actual knowledge in its complaint. Realizing this deficiency, TEI now simply changes the verb tense and posture of its facts, and even the legal standard. Now, instead of arguing that Doe's knew it was highly likely Denim's reaction would be an infringing group viewing session and not a fair use, TEI argues that because Doe's knew that Denims was currently streaming, Doe's knew that Denims was exploiting the works without a license and without permission. This argument involves a tremendous factual leap, as knowledge that Denims was streaming is not knowledge of infringement. Right. I mean, they're not wrong here as far as like what they're trying to say. So they're trying to say that that they didn't know that Denims was doing copyright infringement, which is, you know, it doesn't matter whether they knew whether that Denims was or not. They linked to Denims with the suggestion of going to watch it there, so you don't have to give any views to Ethan. So I don't see how. Now they're saying they knew it was so I guess they're trying to say that Ethan changed it to say it was highly likely that they knew that Denims' reaction, but it's still what they put in their post. TEI's purported evidence of knowledge of infringement is speculative and contradicted by Doe's evidence as summarized below. TI argues that Doe's statement of not showing support for H3 meant that Doe's new denim's use was unauthorized. Does have clarified that the purpose of the entire subreddit demonstrates that H3Snark's users disagreed with TEI. That disagreement is the meaning of without showing support. Okay, this is where the bullshit starts to come in, right? Again, they're saying that it's only for discussion, and without showing support, what they mean is criticizing him, right? That's what they're saying here. So that disagreement is the meaning of without showing support for H3. Not the twisted meaning of stealing views that TEI ascribes. So they're saying without showing support for H3 is the purpose of the entire subreddit, which is that the H3Snark users disagree with TI. I mean, that's just nonsense. It's very clear what this sentence means. Not showing support for H3. It's not about moral support. We already know we're not getting that. It is stealing views. And to say the twisted meaning of stealing views is, I don't know, it's unprofessional, but doesn't seem very legal. TEI argues that because Doe's linked to creators who supported H3Snark by engaging directly with Doe's, that meant Doe's knew these creators would stream the works without seeking TEI's permission. Here, this is not what the post states. It does not state that creators engage with Doe's, and it's untrue anyway. So Doe's linked to creators who supported H3Snark by engaging directly with Doe's. That meant Doe's knew these creators would stream the works. Well, no, that's not what that meant. Here, this is not what the post states. It does not state that creators engage with Doe's, and it is untrue. And TEI put words and meaning into Doe's post to serve its own purpose. Again, right? That's what they're trying to say. So they're continuing to just say that that the purpose of the mega threads were just for discussion. So they included links so that you could watch it, so that you could discuss it. In actuality, references to creators supporting the subreddit reflect 3 creators' direct engagement with the subreddit community as users, or citation of H3Snark in their own critiques. Not any references to creators supporting the subreddit reflect 3 creators' direct engagement with the subreddit community as users, or citation of H3Snark in their own critiques. Not any creators' direct support of moderators. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. So the creators are supporting the subreddit, were supporting the community, but not the moderators. So they're members of H3Snark, but they're not moderators, and so it's not evidence that they knew that the creators would infringe. Further, this mega thread was posted roughly 20 hours before Countdown and 21 hours before the release of Nuke, i.e. before anyone reacted, but knowledge of potential future infringement is not adequate to show specific knowledge of actual infringement. What? Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. You made the post early, 21 hours before the release of the Nuke, before anyone reacted. Knowledge of potential future infringement is not adequate. It wasn't potential future infringement. TEI argues that the megathread is proof that the H3Snark mods knew that Denim's anticipation use of the works was unauthorized. TEI's evidence simply does not show that Doe's knew Denim's anticipated use would be infringing. So now they're just playing dumb. Just saying they didn't know anything. They didn't know what Denim was going to do. They didn't know what anybody was going to do. They thought that everyone was going to be up and up, and everything was going to be, you know, all kosher, and everybody was just going to get fair use. That's all. I mean, we're supposed to believe that? Complaint Exhibit I. TEI argues that Doe's failure to view Denim's stream demonstrates knowledge of infringement. This argument is both unfounded and contrary to law. Denim's announcement of her intent to react did not indicate an intent to infringe. Moreover, Nuke had not even been released at the time the megathread was posted. Again, Denim's own words. If you enjoyed watching this, so you didn't have to give any views to Ethan. Denim's own words, right? So, yeah. This megathread stated places to watch reactions to this video with a list of creators who had planned to react to the Nuke. This megathread did not include any reproduction or infringement of TEI's content. The megathread also listed TEI's source of Nuke as the first link The post prominently displayed the official Nuke thumbnail and metadata, which automatically linked to TEI's original YouTube upload. Reddit's preview clearly directed users first to TEI's Nuke. Indeed, upon Nuke's release, the subreddit featured TEI's video as its most visible post. And if a user clicked on that thumbnail image, they would immediately be brought to TEI's original video of Nuke, thereby giving TEI more views. User comments to the mega thread further indicated that to Doze that Denim's use was fair, and that H3... Okay, let me go back for a second. So first of all, they're saying that because they linked to Ethan's video, then they should be okay. It doesn't matter that they posted other links, but they linked to Ethan's video. So, and that was the first one. So that means that they didn't do anything wrong. Interesting. And then they say user comments to the mega thread further indicate that Doze that Denim's use was fair. So the user comments in the mega thread said that Denim's use was fair, and that H3Snark users engage with Denim's transformative political comments. Excuse me for one moment. Oh man, I need something stronger than water after that. H3Snark users engaged with Denim's transformative political commentary overlapped with many users' own stances. No shit. You guys fucking agreed with Denim's. No shit. Anyway. TEI also argues that Doze linking to Denim's stream without determining whether she made a fair use is the epitome of willful blindness. Yes. In doing so, TEI again assumes, at least they have a sense of humor, right? Yeah. In doing so, TEI again assumes that Doze subjectively believed infringement was likely occurring. However, Doze have already demonstrated that they did not know. Well, yeah, right. So they're saying that just like they is the epitome of willful blindness. I agree with that. In doing so, TEI again assumes that Doze subjectively believed infringement was likely occurring. However, Doze have already demonstrated they did not know or believe infringement was occurring or would occur. Right, of course. TEI cannot twist the facts to make Doze cognizant of future infringement, which may or may not occur. Whatever. So this is like saying, okay, let me try to come up with a good analogy here, right? So essentially what they're saying is that they couldn't have known that Denim's was going to infringe on anything. There was no way that they could have known. It's like, you know that the mail comes around the same time every day, but there's no way that you could have known that the mail was going to be delivered that day, even though the mail comes the same time every day, right? Like, that's what they're trying to say. Like you know that the reason why Denim's is watching this, not to give her commentary, though she thinks it's to give her commentary, but there's also the secondary part of it, which is the copyright infringement, and they knew that that was the case. In short, TEI's entire base of knowledge of infringement is self-serving speculation and belied by Doe's declarations. Further, TEI's attempt to impose a knowledge requirement that is greater than a copyright attorney's is illogical and unfounded. So they're saying that there's no way, like, despite the fact that they might have said that go watch it with Denim's, then that doesn't mean that they knew that Denim's was going to do copyright infringement, and there's no way they could have known. There's no way they could have known that. What are they, psychics? And that's just absolute horseshit. If only you could edit or delete posts once you know you fucked up, right? Yeah, exactly. Well, they don't think they fucked up. They think that they are absolutely in the right. I mean, the Snarkers think that they're doing God's work by terrorizing Ethan. It's a sickness. It really is. On that point, TEI argues that it did not give Doe's notice that it believed Denim's stream was infringing because it didn't want to risk exposure for DMCA misrepresentation. But TEI didn't need to issue DMCA takedown notice. It could have simply posted a comment on the mega threads or sent Doe's a mod mail notifying Doe's of purported infringement. Okay, fuck you. Really? So TEI didn't. This is if you knew that we were going to be infringing, why didn't you say something? Why didn't you tell us? It did not give Doe's notice because they say it didn't want to risk exposure for DMCA misrepresentation. Yeah, but God. So it didn't need to issue a DMCA takedown notice. It could have simply posted a comment. Can you imagine? Can you imagine someone, AB, sending a mod mail to a H3Snark saying, "Hey, listen, you know, Denims is copyright infringing. Can you take her off that list? We think she's going to copyright infringe. Can you take that off that? Can you take it off the list? You didn't let me know I was stealing your video. What's wrong with you?" Exactly. Doe's of purported notifying Doe's of a purported infringement. TI didn't need its attorney to do this. TI itself could have contacted Doe's, and since TI operates its own subreddits, it knows how ModMail operates. Yeah. Right. Further, yeah, because Reddit has been so helpful with Ethan with the H3Snark this whole time. I mean, everyone on Reddit is so ready to just help you and give you any assistance that you need. What's bothering you? We're Snark. We're reasonable. You could have just sent us a mod mail and we would have taken it down. Dickheads. Further, TEI's own evidence shows it was closely monitoring subreddit. At times, the megathreads were posted, witnessed the alleged infringement, and made a willing choice not to notify Doe's. This does not show vigorous protection of copyright. It shows a trap. TEI has not shown any requisite knowledge. So this is where they're going with the trap again. Yeah, they knew you were going to post it. You posted it, and it happened. I mean, you got caught. You got. You were doing something wrong. Okay, TEI presents no evidence that Doe's induced Denim's alleged infringement. Contributory liability stems from tort law concepts of enterprise liability, imputed intent. In other words, there must be some coordinated effort and some reasonably credible ascribed aim of infringement. TEI offers no competent evidence that there was any connection between Doe's and Denim's or any other creators, or that there was an imputed intent to infringe. So they keep going back that like, they keep saying they don't have anything to do with Denims. They don't know anything about what Denims does. They're not responsible for what Denims does. The intent of the megathreads was to facilitate discussion and critique of a highly public figure and nuke. That was one of the intents. I'll give you that. It's definitely one of the intents. As with the knowledge requirement, TEI twists the words of the megathreads into speculated active steps of inducement where there was none. TEI twists the words of the megathreads into speculated active steps of inducement where there was none. This does not suffice. See also Columbia Pictures. Plaintiff must show a high degree of proof of the improper object. That this requirement is dispositive. I don't understand this. As with the knowledge requirement, TEI twists the words of the megathreads into speculated active steps of inducement where there was none. Oh, I see. They're saying that that TEI says that are twisting the purpose of the megathreads again. They keep saying the megathreads were purely for discussion. Purely for discussion, guys. Doe's included links to content creators' homepages on posts on the subreddit. Doe's did not conspire, collude, or otherwise collaborate with Denims or any creator about diverting views for infringing on TEI material. Doe's did not advertise or solicit to Denims in infringing use or instruct Denims or anyone else how to engage in infringing use. So they're saying they did not instruct anyone how to engage in infringing use, despite the YouTube links, right? That's what they're saying. Your Honor, I didn't know this bank robber was going to rob a bank. I was just giving them a ride. Exactly. Thank you, Alex. Thank you. I don't know why I couldn't. Thank you for coming up with that metaphor, but that's spot on. Doe's did not advertise or solicit to Denims in infringing use or instruct Denims or anyone else. So, no, they did not advertise or solicit to Denims in infringing use, but they did advertise on their threads how to engage in infringing use. And they're saying that they're not showing support to Ethan is not engaging in infringing use. It is simply engaging in criticism of Ethan. Indeed, there was no clear and affirmative improper object of infringement from Doe's to anyone, let alone a high degree of proof of the improper object. But there was if there was YouTube links. Y-E-W, YouTube links. No message was communicated to Denims at all. Indeed, Denims and other creators operated completely independently. TEI's attempts to distort the intent of the megathreads in the face of Doe's contradictory evidence through convoluted attributions misses the mark. TI's attempts to distort the intent. They just keep saying that the megathreads were only there to for discussion. So that's their argument so far has been, we didn't know Denims was going to infringe. We didn't encourage anyone else to infringe. We created megathreads for discussion and critique. Ethan thinks that we're out to get him, but we're not. Here we go. In short, Doe's did not post the megathreads with the object of promoting infringement through any clear expression, despite TEI's attempts to frame it otherwise. Mere knowledge of infringing potential or actual infringing uses by others is not enough here to subject Doe's to liability. Who posted the YouTube links? Who posted the YouTube links? And failure to take affirmative steps to prevent infringement alone cannot trigger inducement liability. So now it's Ethan's fault. So Ethan did not stop us from doing it. I mean, we didn't do anything, but also if we did, why didn't Ethan stop us from doing it ahead of time? Doe's had no affirmative duty to reach out to Denims, a creator they did not control or even interact with on a platform, Twitch. Doe's didn't operate to prevent Denims from infringing to ensure she had made a fair use. I mean, it's fair that for them to say that they're not involved with Denims at all, but they knew what was going to happen. TEI argues that Doe's induced Denims infringement by sending viewers to her stream. TEI cites no authority for the proposition that linking to content on the internet without more induces the recipient of those viewers to infringe copyright. Jesus. So, okay. Again, listen, we don't know. We just don't know anything. We have no authority that just because we link to content on the internet and don't say anything, that doesn't mean that, we're telling people to infringe copyright. TEI's argument makes no sense. The presence of viewers does not communicate a specific object to infringe, and Doe's had no knowledge that Denims would infringe. TEI also argues that Doe's aim to satisfy the subreddit's users' desire for unauthorized versions of the works. That's it. There we go. But TEI does not allege in its complaint that the subreddit's user infringed, nor could it. See Tarantino versus Gawker Media. Interesting. Thus, without a direct infringement allegation against subreddit users, any inducement claims fails. Now, that's interesting. So, you can't, same kind of excuse as Miss Girl just saying Edith's clothing is interesting. Yeah, exactly. It's interesting, But, so this is interesting. Yeah, this is interesting as well. So that without a direct infringement, so they can't prove that anybody actually went to any of those links. And so if they can't prove that anybody actually went to any of those links, then they can't prove that any infringement happened. It's interesting. It's not a bad argument. I don't know about the case law in it because obviously I am not a lawyer. I am an uneducated old person, but that is interesting. Similarly, although TEI sets forth no argument for a theory of material contribution, any such argument would fail. Material contribution turns on whether the activity in question substantially assists direct infringement. Okay, so this is where they're coming from. So if you can't prove that our links, that anyone who went to those links, that anyone infringed, so you can't prove that there was any losses, substantial assists. There was no material loss. Material contribution turns on whether the activity in question substantially assists direct infringement. Doe's publication of the megathreads in no way substantially assisted Denim's alleged infringing activity, nor were Doe's megathreads an essential step in the infringement process. That's the big argument. So, I don't think that it matters whether they substantially assisted Denims, though they sent people there. But this idea of them trying to say that the megathreads were not an essential step in the infringement process. Yeah. Not their worst. I'll give them that. Yeah, it's not their worst. It's not their worst. Finally, TEI argues that prior history of providing allegedly infringing YouTube links to deprive TEI of advertising revenue apparently shows Doe's penchant for infringement. Yeah. TEI's argument is speculative and lacks any temporal nexus, what is this, Doctor Who, to the megathreads and Denim's alleged infringement. Thus, it is irrelevant. TEI further ignores Doe's evidence that they stopped allowing alternate viewing sites months before the alleged infringement at issue here and encouraged their users to respect copyright and engage in fair use. TEI has not shown inducement. I'd like to see the receipts for that. I would like to see the receipts for that. It's in their declaration, but their declaration is too long and I'm not going to read it. But I would like to see specific receipts for that portion of it. That they stopped allowing alternate viewing sites months before the alleged infringement, right? If that's the case. Doe's made a fair use of TEI's works. TEI's argument that Doe's did not make a fair use also fails. As to the first factor, Doe's used the megathreads for criticism and commentary fundamentally at odds with TEI's original purpose of the nuke, making their use transformative. Do we really think that they transformed anything in those comments? But fair. I mean, this isn't about the comments. This isn't about the conversation in the megathreads. This is about the links in the megathreads. Doe's use was not for a commercial purpose. Doe's never financially benefited or received any compensation for moderating H3Snark or for linking to content. Well, that's a you problem. Doe's. The nature of nuke was highly factual, weighing in Doe's favor, and Doe's did not use any portion of the works in the megathreads. Finally, no one would have viewed the megathreads and conversation thereon as a substitute for watching nuke that would have created an effect on the potential market for it. So if we did contribute to the copyright infringement, it wasn't in any way that was gonna make any difference to Ethan's bottom line. You did this for free? You weren't so wicked. TEI's authority is distinguishable, where Doe's did not reproduce TEI's work at all, and Doe's did not implicitly invite criticism. Instead, the entire purpose of the megathreads was a forum for criticism and discussion of nuke, and through and on the subreddit, Doe's and H3Snark users engaged in legitimate discussion of transformative reactions to nuke. The megathreads were not just an implicit invitation. Thus, Doe's use was fair. So if they want to make that argument, then that's the same argument that Denims is going to make, right? Which is that it was fair use. Just because she said that she hopes that people are happy that they didn't give Ethan any views, that doesn't mean that she was doing this to take views away from him. She was just, saying, hey, I hope that was a benefit that you experienced. But she still thinks it was fair use. Despite that sentence, she thinks that what she did was fair use. And I mean, she probably commented more than Caseytron did, but still. And now they're arguing for Denims. So they don't know. They keep arguing. They don't know anything about Denims. They don't know anything about what Denims was doing. They did not help her infringe. They did not know that she was going to infringe. All they knew was that she was going to be watching it. Fair use. They believed it was going to be fair use. Now they're going to argue that Denims was fair use, and I don't know why they're arguing on Denim's behalf here, but because it doesn't really matter. What matters is whether or not they provided the links. I know that Ethan's trying to make this connection to Denims and the Snark moderators because of the sharing of the links, but yeah. Denim's use was transformative and in no way superseded or supplemented the use of the original, weighing in favor of fair use. A scathing criticism of a work is the quintessential example of fair use. A scathing criticism. Is that what Denim's provided? I mean, there's some comedy in here. There's some real good comedy in here. Denims Denim's reaction stream was exactly that. She frequently pauses Nuke to criticize and mock both content and quality, explain, provide context, challenge, and argue, all while interacting with her live audience. She's so multi-talented. She can multitask. She also rewinds and rewatches to provide a more informed reaction. A review of Denim's stream makes it clear that viewers who wanted to view the nuke in its entirety without Denim's criticism and commentary would not be able to do so by watching her stream. Wait, hold on a second. A review of Denim's stream makes it clear that viewers who wanted to view the nuke in its entirety without Denim's criticism and commentary would not be able to do so by watching her stream. Hey, Tiff. How you doing? How you feeling these days, Tiff? So, okay, it's like this. If you wanted to watch it without Denim's criticism, you wouldn't be able to do it by watching her stream. No shit. There is no option to pause, fast forward, move to the next segment because her stream was live. In short, Denim's reaction stream did not supplant the use of the original. It served an entirely different purpose. TI also has not shown that Denim's stream acted as a market replacement instead of a market complement that didn't impair demand on the original. I mean, the fact that there's no option to pause, fast forward, move to the next segment is an interesting argument. I don't know really if it's a good argument. TI also has not shown that Denim's stream acted as a market replacement. TI conclusorily states that Denim's reaction stream served as a market replacement for its works, assuming that Denim's audience watched her instead of TI's content because of timing. Interesting. If you're exhausted, I can imagine. I can imagine. I can only imagine, but I can imagine. But I'm glad you're doing good, though. That's good to hear. I was asking. I was so awkward. I'm such an awkward person. I was asking because I know you're pregnant, and I think that that's wonderful. That's right. You have a 3-year-old and that's adorable. Yeah, man. I do not envy you, parents. I think parents are amazing. I could never do it, which is why I didn't. Let's see. Where was I? TI has presented no admissible evidence, though, that anyone... TI has presented no admissible evidence, though, that anyone watched Denim's stream instead of its works. It's clear from Denim's stream that anyone who wanted to watch the nuke in its entirety without interruption or Denim's criticism commentary would not have viewed Denim's stream instead. That's an interesting argument. Finally, that's an interesting argument. Let me go back to this for a second. So they've presented no admissible evidence that anyone watched Denim's stream instead of the nuke. Well, but you don't have to prove that infringement happened on the other end. Right? Like that's what my question is. Does Ethan have to prove that that other people actually watched it, or do they just or they just need to say you put out these links, so that's infringing? TEI's generalization of how YouTube videos are monetized in a party declaration without actually attributing lost views to Denim's stream is not admissible nor competent evidence, nor does it demonstrate actual loss. Importantly, before there can be a market substitute, there has to be a market. That's fucked up. Before there can be a market substitute, there has to be a market. Okay. How many views does the nuke have so far? I can't spell it. I can't type. 3.7 million views. Yeah, I'd say that there's a market for it. 3.7 million views. That's incredible. TI's generalization of how YouTube attributing loss of views to denim stream is not admissible nor competent evidence, nor does demonstrate actual loss. Importantly, before there can be a market substitute, there has to be a market. TI ignores the fact that many, if not most, of the people who watch denim stream would not have watched its content at all. The fourth factor weighs in favor of fair use. Well, that's just blatant lies. That's just blatant lies. No, people wouldn't have watched it anyway, unless they watched it with denims. The balancing of factors weighs in favor of does. To unmask does, the court must find, 1, that disclosure of does identities is necessary for TEI to protect against or remedy serious wrongs, while 2, such disclosure causes relatively little harm to does First Amendment and privacy rights. TEI cannot meet this standard. The balance of harms overwhelmingly favors does and First Amendment protected critical speech at large. Here's my, I'm just going to make a broad generalization about this anyway. If you've got nothing to hide, that's not where I wanted to start with that. They wouldn't be so scared about their identities being revealed if they hadn't been such shitty people for so long. So, like, if you trying to put this nicely, you can't be a shitty. You can't. Only shitty people need to hide behind all of this nonsense, right? Like, if you were real, if you actually stood behind what you said, if you weren't a terrible person harassing the clients, then you would say, yeah, they can know who I am. I didn't do anything wrong. But you know that you did. You know, they know that they did a lot wrong. And so they're scared of Ethan and Hila because they know of all the bullshit that they've put them through for this this amount of time. People who are not guilty don't act like this. People with clear consciences do not act like this. I have to change this to live chat. I always forget to do that. I hope I didn't miss any messages. I probably didn't. I'm hoping there's no snarkers in here messing with you guys. Anyway. TI doesn't even attempt to balance competing harms. It relies solely on Cognisphere PT for a 4-part test, which does not balance anything. TEI fails to address any other authority which does weigh competing harms. Under Highfields and his progeny demonstrate the balance weighs in favor of does. Don't know any of that, and I'm not going to look it up, but fine. The alleged wrong here is creating pinned discussion threads which formally link to reaction videos of TEI's content. Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you. I should just make all of you guys mods, really. Let's see. The alleged wrong here is creating pins. The alleged harm is at max 45,000 views of Denim stream by people who probably wouldn't have watched Nuke in its original form anyway. Nobody was going to watch this anyway, so it doesn't matter that Denim's watched it. That's not a great argument. Who probably wouldn't have watched Nuke in its original form anyway over a period of at max 4 hours. These are not serious wrongs compared to the immense harm those will suffer to their First Amendment and privacy rights if the subpoenas are not quashed, and that the public will suffer through the stifling of free speech. They're really harping on this free speech. Again, people who worry about their First Amendment rights being taken away are people who say shitty things. That would be funny if you guys just started banning each other, putting each other in timeouts. I think Alex likes to do that for fun anyway. Doze voluntarily made the subreddit inactive after TEI's threats to target its users and moderators, and Doze ceased all public comment and criticism of TEI, stifling their free speech. Doze ceased all public comment and criticism of TEI, stifling their free speech. How many fucking Snark subreddits have there been at this point? Olivia, hi Olivia. Nice to see you. I especially don't think that matters because she explicitly said thanks for not giving the original views. Exactly. But this ceased all public comment, criticism, TI stifling of free speech. They haven't shut up. When have they shut up? It's just more and more Snarks subreddits. Every time one gets shut down, another one pops up. Despite this, TEI continues to publicly discuss does and promote harassment through affiliated creators and fan communities. No one's harassing you guys. No one is harassing you guys. You are harassing Ethan. I don't understand how people standing up for themselves is considered harassment now. You had a criticism. It was a shitty criticism. He stood up for himself. You didn't fucking like it. And you just got more and more entrenched in your horrible echo chamber of people who feel like they need to criticize someone on a comedy show, you know? These coordinated campaigns have extended beyond here we go. These coordinated campaigns have extended beyond the subreddit, silencing or threatened to silence communities across Reddit. This chilling effect is such crybabies. Oh, we want to talk shit about Ethan and talk about how he's a horrible Zionist and he won't let us do it. The chilling effect is immediate and measurable. Users have deleted accounts, wiped posts, and refrained from participating in legitimate criticism. I'm not even stoned. Wiped posts and refrained. The chilling effect is immediate and measurable. Users have deleted accounts, wiped posts, and refrained from participating in legitimate criticism of public figures online. So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, well, first of all, if you can't stand behind, this is the problem. I know I'm an old fart, guys, but this is the problem with social media is that it's totally anonymous. Well, it's not totally anonymous, but it's anonymous enough that people can just say whatever the fuck they want. I mean, again, like I'm going to bring it back. This is why I love H3 so much, right? Like, I mean, it's not totally anonymous, right? We all, our little family, our little group, when we did Alex's fundraiser, everyone getting to meet each other, be on camera together and have conversations. None of us are afraid, right, of showing our faces because we know that we don't have any reason to be afraid. I've not done anything to these people. I've not done anything except, right now comment on the idiocy of them trying to say that they did no wrong or that they've been doing no wrong. When I know for a fact what's been happening because I've seen the posts and I've seen the subreddits. So I have nothing to hide, nothing to hide. And that's why I get on, I mean, I think it's interesting. You see a lot of H3 fans live stream and live stream on Twitch and YouTube and whatnot. But Roman P's not doing that, right? Because he's hiding behind his username. He's hiding behind his anonymity, so that he can say whatever the fuck he wants. And it's absolute horseshit. And if you either stand by it and show your face or shut the fuck up. But see, people who are kind don't have these things to worry about. And I want to give them as much benefit of the doubt to who they are and what they're going through and why they feel the need to criticize Ethan so strongly. But it's really hard because, they've done this to themselves by being assholes. Be kind, people. Be kind. It's not that hard. Wait, aren't they the ones who ban us just for being on the H3 subreddit? Same with FOMOA. Exactly. They ban us. They if you comment on any, I don't go to Leftovers H3 because I know it'll just piss me off, and I already have high blood pressure. But if you go, plenty of people have gone and commented on Leftovers H3 posts and or FOMOA or I think LSF live stream fails. They will ban people. They'll ban people if you are in the H3 subreddit, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Oh, thanks, Tanya. I'll be sure to do that. Thank you. I think I've exhausted that rant now. I think I'll move on. Further, a finding that rights holders can unmask anonymous speakers who had the sole intent of furthering First Amendment protected speech based on a fundamentally flawed, pretextual, and retaliatory contributory infringement claim will silence countless others. I just disagree. If anything, it's gonna force people to be, I mean, the hope is that it force people to be better. That if you can't hide behind this bullshit, then maybe you'll think twice about posting bullshit. And also, First Amendment does not mean free from consequences. It means you can say whatever you want, but it means you can say whatever you want about the government. But it doesn't mean you can just say whatever you want about anybody else and you're free from consequences. That's not what free speech is. These people also don't know what criticism is. PEI claims that its promises not to use those identifying information are disingenuous. Now they're liars. Now Ethan and Neil are liars because they say that they're being disingenuous. TEI's own disclosures, such as threatening to expose those to their employers and educational institutions, doxing third parties, inciting its fans and others to harass those, encourage speculation about an investigation into anonymous users' identities, show otherwise. No. So, first of all, Ethan has never doxed anyone. In this situation, I'm sure I know he's doxed people. In this situation, he's not doxed anyone. But also, what do they think they're going to do with the information? I mean, what do these people think that Ethan and Neil are going to do once they find out who they are? I mean, they might sue them, and they might try, and they might try and take some action against them to try and stop the harm that H3Snark does, the harm that Snark does in general. So if they can set a precedent and get this Snark shut up, then maybe people will be a little bit better. That's not free speech. That's not a free speech issue, and that's not a criticism issue, because what they do isn't criticism. What they do is harassment. He only doxed the crew himself. Yeah, I mean, I remember when he doxed Love's phone number. That was funny. That was funny. Now they don't let him stream from home. TEI's own admission that it does not intend to pursue any other litigation at this time, overtly alluding to some future use of those identities, is disturbing at best. I mean, I get it. I get why they'd be scared of that. Even in its own opposition, TEI cannot help itself from revealing private identifying information of 3 of its critics. TEI established pattern of disclosure demonstrates that any protective order would be woefully unreliable. Listen, TEI cannot help itself from revealing private identifying information of 3 of its critics. But the 3 that he's suing? The 3 that he's suing, right? It is not just that it's not just TEI that does have to worry about. H3 fans have a proven track record of harassing and even doxing people who are critical of H3 and Ethan. I don't believe that. There is also great risk to those from the myriad of content creators covering these lawsuits and this motion. Hi. That's me. I'm covering this motion right now. Further, this court should consider TEI's motives in filing these lawsuits. Here we go. As copious evidence shows, TEI initiated this lawsuit to impose undue financial burdens on does, ruin them in 3 different lawsuits, follow through on his previous threats to target does and their families, friends, workplaces, and educational institutes, and shut down the subreddit. No, it's all just to shut down the subreddit. Shut down the subreddit. It would be nice to know who you people are who've been doing this for all this time, but I don't think that there's any worry about anyone targeting your family's friends and workplaces. But again, listen, you should stand by what you say. You know, if what you're saying, if you're saying something on the internet that could get you fired, then maybe you shouldn't fucking be saying it on the internet. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I mean, goddamn, people. This is all based on conduct not related to copyrights, but for alleged defamation, business interference, harassment, and criminal conduct, none of which Doe's committed. So you say. Even after Doge shut the subreddit down, TEI continues to tribute content critical of it to Doge. Yeah, they never heard fuck around and find out. You shut the subreddit down and then started a new one. And then that shut down and you started a new one. There's still a Snarks subreddit just because they think that they think they're getting away with something by calling it Leftovers H3, but they're not getting away with shit. We know what it is. Oh man, someone on one of my posts on YouTube said that I should call this show Leftovers Part 2 or Electric Boogaloo. Yeah, Captain Quasar said the Electric Boogaloo part, but calling this Leftovers Part 2 would be pretty funny. TEI even goes so far as to say that Doge could now walk away from these lawsuits by turning off the monitor. See, I believe that. And I think Ethan continues to show that. And on Monday, that conversation with Madison, Ethan definitely showed how generous he can be to people and how empathetic he can be to people. So. Leftovers Reloaded. Yes. That statement, despite the fact that TEI goes so far as to say that Doge could now walk away from these lawsuits by turning off the monitor. That statement, despite the fact that Doge have stopped publicly discussing H3, proving that TEI's silencing tactics already worked, shows TEI does not and will never believe them. TEI, self-admitted foe, is a psychologically unrecognized Stark brain theory of thought, which TEI cannot defeat by unmasking Doge in these lawsuits. TEI wants to punish Doge for perceived wrongs of masses, which Doge had nothing to do with. I mean, what the fuck? They really think that they've done nothing wrong here. They think that this is all in Ethan's head. And again, that idea of like Ethan is paranoid, it's all in his head is so ridiculous. Considering, and to say that they've stopped publicly discussing H3, we know that Leftovers H3 exists. We know that there are other Snark subreddits that exist. In sum, the relative harm to TEI's copyright interests compared to grave harm Doge and the public have suffered and will suffer immensely weighs in favor of quashing the subpoenas. Okay, this one is interesting. Sorry if you heard all the drinking, I should mute that. But TEI has not established that its subpoenas seek relevant information. TEI appears to claim that the information sought by its subpoenas is directly relevant to pursue its claim of contributory infringement. Not so. TEI subpoenas seek identifying information for accounts which had no involvement with the alleged infringement or H3Snark moderation at all. Oh, this is interesting. Notably, user Roman P was never an H3Snark mod. Other accounts are not moderator accounts. We were never active on H3Snark. We're never active on H3Snark, never even existed as accounts, or have no connection to the mega threads. TEI has submitted no evidence of relevance of Discord accounts it seeks. The subpoenas are also okay. Roman P was never an H3, but it's the P with the extra E. So are they trying to say that the fake Roman P was never an H3Snark mod, or the Roman P, the actual Roman P was never a H3Snark mod? That's interesting. Some of the accounts they're saying, and they're also saying some of the accounts are not moderator accounts, or were never active on H3Snark, or never even existed. This indiscriminate target highlights the subpoenas are intended to intimidate and suppress lawful criticism rather than address copyright concerns. TEI could have easily sought relevant information in its subpoenas. The usernames of moderators of subreddits are accessible. They're only talking about H3Snark, but yeah, right. That's actually a good point. That's actually a good point. But Roman P is 9 mods, right? Like he's the one who said he had 9. He was named 9 different times in the original subpoena. So I don't know. I could have easily sought relevant information in subpoenas. The usernames of moderators of subreddits are ascertainable from the subreddit itself. That's ridiculous. Yeah, you could have found out who we were just by looking at the subreddit. That's all you needed to know. On the dates the megathreads were put, TEI could and should have examined the H3Snark's subreddit page to view who the mods were on that date. The information was readily available, and TEI moderates its own subreddit, so it knows the information is available. Yeah, I can't remember. Maybe somebody in chat knows if the extra E is the fake one and the regular Roman P with 2 E's is the real one, or what? Because that would be really interesting. If that was wrong, or if they're somehow trying to be get a technicality going on. That was a great expression. They're trying to catch it on a technicality there to say that this person was never, but the other Roman P they don't mention. TEI issued vastly overbroad subpoenas seeking information prohibited from disclosure by federal law and the identities of users who were never moderators of subreddit, like Roman P, and Discord users for whom TEI has shown no connection to the alleged infringing megathreads or the H3Snark's subreddit at all. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that he was in Glam's live stream, and it would be crazy. It would be even crazier if everything that he's said on the subreddit is just bullshit. That this guy has just been bullshitting the whole time. But I feel like Ethan knows more than he's letting on with all this stuff. That they definitely have more information, but they're just holding out for discovery, and they're trying to get through this portion of it before they start really releasing the wolves. Vastly, the identities of users who were never moderators of subreddit, like Roman P, and Discord users for whom TEI has shown no connection to the allegedly infringing megathreads or the H3Snark subreddit at all. So they don't need to show the evidence at this point. Isn't that what the discovery is for? Isn't that what the trial is for? To talk about that evidence? They've said that they've shown no connection, but I firmly believe that if Ethan subpoenaed these people and subpoenaed these Discord users, then he knows who those Discord users are on Reddit. TEI does not attempt to explain the relevancy of these requests further, as discussed below. Section 1. Those identities are not crucial to TEI pursuing its claim. If it has one, this demonstrates an additional reason to quash the subpoenas. Interesting. TEI did not significantly narrow the scope of the subpoenas. TEI claims it attempted to offer concessions to DOEs by narrowing the subpoena. But TEI's first concession to eliminate its request for stored communications content, which clearly violates the Stored Federal Communication Act, is not a concession at all, but merely a belated attempt to rein in heinously overboard and illegal requests. Wow. So they're saying, okay, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. The idea that they, TEI did some concessions to try and get the information that they need, but that they wasn't a real concession. That they were never going to get that information anyway. TEI's willingness to limit the subpoenas to only encompass identifying information is another non-concession. It is no more than a court would award. And another of TEI's concessions that Reddit and Discord only provide PII of individuals authorized by the court required DOEs to file the instant motion anyway. TEI cannot expect DOEs or the court to take these concessions seriously as an indicia of good faith. That's it. Okay. So I guess they're saying that they're trying to say that the things that Ethan and Hila conceded in the last declaration were not really concessions because they were never going to get that information anyway, which is a bold claim. In the alternative, a protective order is warranted. If this court does not quash TEI subpoenas entirely, a protective order is absolutely warranted. The Ninth Circuit has permitted litigants to use pseudonyms in cases when identification creates a risk of retaliatory or physical or mental harm. They keep thinking that Ethan is going to like come after them or something, like physically come after them with like a weapon. Importantly, here where Doe's anonymity facilitates, I can never say anonymity. Anonymity facilitates free speech. The disclosure of their identities is itself an irreparable harm. Further, records that might be used to gratify private spite or promote public scandal demonstrate compelling reasons to keep certain judicial records secret. They are projecting, Tugger. They are. None of these people were ever bullied in school, and it shows, right? This is records that might be used to gratify private spite or promote public scandal demonstrate compelling reasons to keep certain judicial records secret. So, but I think Ethan actually agreed to this in one of the declarations where, like, I think he agreed that if he got the names, he wouldn't release them. And they're saying that they don't believe that. They believe that if he got the names, that he will absolutely dox them and let everyone know. I don't believe that Ethan would go against a court order like that, personally. He's got way too much to lose to do something like that. Formal Ethan versus Snark duel incoming. Maybe they can all joust. Only we got to make sure that the Gatsby is running, and he has to joust with the Gatsby, and they can get some other mobility scooter on their own. Where a party seeks to proceed pseudo-anonymously on the basis of retaliatory harm, courts balance 5 factors. The severity of the threatened harm, 0. The reasonableness of the anonymous party's fear, 0. The anonymous party's vulnerability to such a retaliation. The prejudice to the opposing party, and 5, the public interest. These factors overwhelmingly favor the Does. In your eyes, they do. Ethernet's principles, they don't. Exactly. That's exactly right, Tugger. He would stand by if he stands by his word. I mean, look at, the whole Cav thing. He was actually reading something the other day, and as he was reading it, he came to someone mentioning Ryan Kavanaugh, and he just skipped over it and went down to the next. So he knows what he's doing. Ethan is a lot smarter than these fuckers give him credit for. That's for damn sure. Maybe, Kelsey, that's it. Maybe that's the idea. Maybe we need to rent out Medieval Times, and we need to get all of the Snarkers there, and all of the family on the other side as the blue and the red, and get Ethan and Roman P to joust with mobility scooters. And then Hila could be the queen who is watching them. I love Medieval Times. I want to go there. Well, I know that the practices there are probably pretty terrible, and they probably treat everyone terribly. I've always wanted to go, though. I've always wanted to see what it was like, and I've still never been. Sigh. So I've never been to the Magic Castle. Sigh. If anybody can get me in the Magic Castle, let me know. First, the severity of the threatened harm is immense. Ethan Klein has professed his intent to ruin Doe's financially, personally, and professionally. I mean, I think that he has definitely said that, but I don't think that he said that in regards to this case. So, you looked up Roman P and all you got was related to Roman urine. You, Tucker, you want me to go to medieval times and report back? Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that sometime. I think there's one by Disneyland. In GitHub, the court found a protective order appropriate where the parties received legitimate and credible threats of violence. Those two have received such veiled death threats, including to the H3Snark mod mail. Who's sending death threats to the H3Snark mod mail? Second, the reasonableness of Doe's fears is justified. Ethan has personally threatened to harm Doe's, and his prior actions of doxing, harassing, and setting his fan base to do the same reasonably lead Doe's to fear retaliation. Ethan is, even yesterday and even today, Ethan has always been very clear, and I know that the other people in the H3 Galaxy were all very clear about this. Don't harass anyone. Fucking don't go and harass anyone. You know? And you can't control everyone. It's going to happen. It's going to happen no matter what. But what's he not supposed to do? He's not supposed to stand up for himself. And you can only, there's only so much that you can do, you know, unlike some people who don't moderate their chat or their communities at all. I think Ethan very clearly tries to moderate his community, and everyone is very, very clear about the boundaries that should not be crossed when it comes to the quote unquote enemies of the show. Exactly. When has Ethan ever encouraged us to dox people? Exactly. I don't. Has he done that? Am I missing something? He hasn't done that when I've been watching. That's for sure. The fact that some of these threats may come from internet trolls and not TEI directly does not render Doe's fears of harm unreasonable. And again, just don't be dickheads. Don't be dickheads. Nobody's going to come after you. Third, Does are especially vulnerable to retaliation. They face loss of their jobs and even their careers, likelihood of retaliation, doxing, and swatting, and adverse mental health consequences. They're such fucking crybabies. You're right. You're right, Tugger. He does direct his community to not do things. He very clearly directs his community to not do things. Other creators do not do that. I'm too scared to even go to the leftover subreddit to peek. I just feel like they're so insane they could get my IP or something. 100%. I worry about this, but I know I'm not. I know I'm not doing anything wrong. So, I mean, they can come. I guess they could. I don't know what they would do to me, but yeah, I don't really have anything to hide. I'm just a guy trying to make his way in the universe, and I know where my towel is. So, conversely, TEI has not established any prejudice, merely stating a vague but undeveloped concern of hampering discovery and proceeding with the case. These assertions, unsubstantiated by any facts, are not sufficient. Indeed, courts have followed defendants to proceed pseudonymously well into later stages of cases. Finally, the public interest does not weigh against permitting Does to proceed pseudonymously, where Does identities themselves are not central to the issues raised by the case, which purportedly is copyright infringement. Which does not weigh against permitting Does to proceed. Okay. No, it does not weigh against the public interest. Does attorney fees are warranted. Does reiterate their request for attorney's fees to be outlined in a separate motion. TEI's action, 3 lawsuits, and its subpoenas at issue here were pretextual, unwarranted, and lacking any factual or legal basis under federal RFC. Olivia, you'd feel safer on the dark web. I think I would feel safer on the dark web than Leftovers H3 also. All right. We've come to the conclusion. Wow, I got through that pretty quickly. TEI's opposition is unconvincing. Instead, it shows that Does are correct. The opposition makes crystal clear that TEI's 3 lawsuits are not about copyright infringement. The goal is to silence critical speech and avenge perceived wrongs. There is an opportunity here for this court to issue a precedent that vengeful plaintiffs cannot bully critical speakers into submission and silence through unmasking subpoenas. Does respectfully ask the court to set the right precedent. Leah Roosevelt. She has a that a C with a T with a I can't remember what they're called. Accent. T is a C with an accent mark. What letter is that? How do you pronounce that? I'm so curious. Where am I? Here we go. I got to look this up. Let's see. Oh, where did it go? Oh. ChatGPT is always updating. Of course, I asked ChatGPT. Oh, soft CH. Vulic. Interesting. Leah Rosa Vulic. It looks like it might be Eastern European, something like that. Fascinating. Well, there you have it. So they didn't do anything. If they did, they didn't know about it. And it doesn't matter because nobody would have watched it anyway. Ethan can't prove that people wouldn't have watched it any other way. So, wow. Well, we'll see I guess we'll see where it goes. I can't see this actually making much of a dent in their case. I mean, I think, yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm not a lawyer, but it is fascinating to read their excuses and for them to say that there's, you know, it definitely wasn't copyright infringement or they didn't know it was copyright infringement. So, I mean, I think the Snark campaign will all make sense once we know who these mods are. Yeah. Yeah. I think you're probably right. Right, the accent only goes in vowels. I mean, that's, as I know it, AP Spanish over here, which was many, many years ago. But I used to speak Spanish fairly well. I've lost it now. I'm so out of practice. But yeah, that's why I was confused about her last name, Vulic. Yeah, let's see what this is. This is if it's a C with an acute accent using Croatian, Bosnian, Montenegrin, softer than C, like a blend between TY and CH. Vulic. Vulic. Well, okay. Should we go back and watch a couple more EXE videos? I need a palate cleanser. I wanted to watch some videos from the BBC Archive, Weird and Wonderful. I have a playlist, but I'm not sure whether I'll get claimed or not. So I need to check first. They are on YouTube and they are free, and it is the BBC. So I don't think that they'll copyright claim me, but I just want to make sure. But and you know, you guys let me know if there would ever be an interest. Like, I really love characters and unique people and people who do just interesting things because that's what they love and what they're passionate about. And I've got this playlist here of like this person who was Miss Chipper, the landmark chiseler, and she was it's from 1970, and it was a woman who was a chiseler, and she was really, really amazing at it, and that's what she was known for chiseling, and that's just so strangely bizarre and wonderful to me, that someone can find their thing that works for them, you know? So I love that. And then there's like this person, 1978 homemade Irish submarine, charming couples fantasy railway, DJ Deke and his shed radio station. That I'm really interested in that one from 1974. The radio station in his shed in his back garden. So anyway, so yeah, so if I don't know if anybody would find that as interesting as I would, but right on, Kelsey. That I'll make sure that I'll do that then. I'll make sure that I can watch those because I love people who find their passion, people who find their love in life and do things, you know, and what drives them. And I especially love it when it's really weird things. I watched one the other night of a guy who made model boats, but they were like big model boats. So his entire little flat had you had to climb over boats to get to different rooms. So it was really it was amazing. And that's how he lived. And the reporter asked him, "What do you do when you have company over?" And he was like, "Company? When do I have company over?" Because he was living his own little world with his model boats, and they were amazing. They were so detailed and intricate. So I don't know, I kind of love that shit. But I've been going for almost 2 hours, and I was just gonna let's wind down with a little bit of EXE, and then I got to go work on H3 last week because I got to get an episode up this week. But I want to watch I want to watch the Jesus EXE. That's what I'm trying to say.
Tell him, I'm not gay no more. I am delivered.
Oh, we just watched this one the other day.
There are places on our body that we should avoid, and the asshole is at the top of the list.
Jesus is a friend of mine. Jesus is my friend.
The thing they do is called anal leaking, where a man's anus is leaked like this.
Once I tried to run and hide, but Jesus came and found me, and he touched me down inside.
Blessed are the pure in heart.
Fire from the genitals, non-stop, inflamed hemorrhoids.
I'm not gay! Poo-pooing, and this one is eating the poo-poo.
Little babies enjoy their assholes.
As a human right to eat the
That chick said little babies enjoy their assholes.
I would not carry a purse. I would not put on makeup. I will love a woman.
Anal gymnastics.
All right, let's watch one more. Cameron Carpenter. I don't think I've ever seen this one.
None of that is a surprise because it's out for attention.
Tanya, I always thought he was saying leaking as well. Guy's my hero.
It's daunting.
Yes, and they look hero.
Oh, it's scary, but
Already totally.
unbelievable qualities. None of that is a surprise because it's all by intention. None.
Look at that. Look at the back of his head, dude. He probably paid like $1,000 for that haircut. He got it dressed. He got a hair dressed by Vidal Sassoon. You got that check for $1,000? Okay, great. I'm gonna give you this edgy new look, okay? It's gonna look like a rat took a shit on the back of your head, okay? Alright, great.
It's a
Oh. Almost died there. Okay. All right. I'm going to call it because it's been about 2 hours. And I want to say thank you, everyone, so much for coming and hanging out with me. I love this. I love talking to all of you. And I'm definitely going to do it some more. I don't know if I'm going to do Friday this week because Mrs. Madman's going out of town, and I don't know what my schedule is going to be like, but definitely we'll be doing a stream on Sunday watching After Dark number 4, and look out for, some H3 Last Week in the next couple of days or something like that. But thank you so much for hanging out with me, everybody. All the regular schmegulas, you guys are awesome. And I'm sure I will talk to all of you very soon. Have a great evening, day, wherever you are. Be kind to